Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Serral study of StarCraft 2 versus Protoss. This time we are looking at a longer match on a map where it's really tough to break into a Protoss's base. I'm excited for this one because I have no idea what to do against Protoss on this map. It feels like they get 3 bases for free and I can't do anything about it. They could 2-base all in me, they could play greedy, and I can't do anything about it. But what does Serral do about it? And we could just post our complaints on Reddit, or we could study replays of what Serral is doing. So I'm gonna go with option 2 here and just look at the progression of action. You can see in the replay timer, this is a 42-minute game. This was the final match of the best of 7 for the semifinals, which basically means that this was not a first pick map for either player. Serral is sending a worker down, 145, same as usual. So as with the other matches in the series, I'm taking notes on build order and decision making and stuff. And because Serral is so gosh darn consistent, I can copy paste some things and save myself a few keystrokes, typing out the same build order every time. So I'm just gonna watch him do hatch gas pool, 18 gas, 17 pool. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. He's got his Overlord actively checking around for bullshit and nonsense. Gets his pool. Rallies the next 3 larvae into the gas. Yep. This is all the same. His first Overlord's going across the map, and his second Overlord is also going across the map. A bit noteworthy. That's different from the other games. Where is it going? Looks like he's sending it over here. Aha! The first divergence from his normal build. Okay. Let's copy this. And I'm pasting this. Stargazers, bold. What color should this map be? Is this even readable? Is it legible? Let's get... This is like so bright neon. Can we do a custom? Let's get some custom. Stars. Stars could be teal. They're not really green. Let's just do this. That's fine. There's like purple and blue. Should be a little bit more blue. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's a nice color. Okay, so we got the 20 Overlord. We'll say second Overlord checks natural for cannon rush, then flies across map to check opponent pocket base. This is different and it's very map specific. For anyone who hasn't really seen this map too much, this map has a little, like, you mine some minerals here and then you can take this as a pocket third. This would be your normal natural expansion. So you have this as a pocket third option, and then these are mineral patches you have to mine through to get up here, and you can't see what's at the top of the ramp just by running up here. You need to get past this. So these are actually pretty strong because you can't damage them. You need workers to get through them. And it's 40 minerals each, which is a lot. That's a lot of trips. Divided by 5, you got 8 trips each for workers to get through one of these patches. And it's kind of hard to micro them to make sure that you only mine through one side. So cheesing through this area is pretty difficult to do, which means that for a normal macro game, a lot of players will just capitalize on that and just take this as a nice comfy base. So these ones have 40 minerals in them. These ones have 10. So it's pretty easy to mine this out and start harvesting resources here. But it's pretty hard to like run across the map and mine out your opponent's side and then attack them. So we'll see what Serral does with this here. So far, everything is the same except for sending the second Overlord across the map after ruling out cannon. Does he pull off gas the same as usual? He's going 4 lings. Overlord flies over the natural wall. Where does he put it? Okay, pulling off gas. 1, 2, 3. Fully off gas, ling speed. Same as usual. And he's going for the line third, maybe? He's going for the line third. Okay. What? He just canceled his ling speed. Why did he do that? Is he gonna do an Overlord speed gambit? He could. He's pulling workers off gas. Starts ling speed. Sees no research, no research. No research, no research. No okay, now research. And he cancels it. All right. Get your detective hats on. All right, that's what it is. So he, by checking his Overlord multiple times, and by seeing the time that Warp Gate started, knew that it was a Stargate opening and not a Twilight one. And he decided to get a different gas investment than ling speed early on. So he canceled this to get more of other stuff in the short term. Amazing. Let's take some notes here. All right, second Overlord checks the natural for cannon rush, then flies across the map. Ling speed, pull fully off gas. Check wall of Protoss. If no warp gate by, and we'll check the time. I'm guessing that was like 2:15. This is some high level shit. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 3. Ahaha! Alright, if no warp gate by 2:20, it is a Stargate build. Or a weird robo build, which is bad, so we don't need to write that down, but they could have also built something else. Okay. If no wall... check wall of Protoss. If no warp gate by 2:20, it is a Stargate build. Okay, so let's just make this a beautiful Stargate color. Golden Armada, sure. Yikes, that is a gross yellow. It's fine. Okay, and then we'll have cancel ling speed. And then we'll see what he does. I didn't see this game live, so I'm seeing it now. What does he do? Cancels it. Takes the line third. Take line third base at 30 supply. Okay.
새로운 여왕 준비됨.
He creeps the natural. Different from the previous games. A reason he might do that, inject main and creep natural. I think the reason that he creeps the natural this time and the other games he injected the natural was because in the other games he kept the ling speed upgrade, and lings are very larva intensive, so he wants to create the option for himself to make more lings. But in this case, he doesn't have ling speed going, so lings will be bad to make. Like, you don't want to make slow lings and attack the Protoss. He basically doesn't want to make lings. He wants to only keep the lings that he has at home for defense if an adept shades across. So he injects the main, creeps the natural, and then gets Overlord speed. And that's okay. Okay, and that's the second, sorry, the third queen is in the natural, and Overlord speed is in the main. Third queen in natural. Overlord speed in main. Cool, interesting, different, nice. Wow. He goes 33 Overlord, 36 Overlord again? That's what he did in the other games. He does. Splendid. Another thing that is consistent. $33 Overlord, 36 Overlord. Write that down, write that down. Okay. Now what do you do, sire? When does he go back on gas? He creeps. His inject up time is pretty good. Overlord speed is finishing up. And it's done. And there's a Phoenix shooting at it. So he goes in bravely with his Overlord. And he sends the other one home. Overlord Scout. Into the main and then toward the natural. So he did end up seeing this gas. That's pretty clutch. Nice. So that's a scouting pattern for us to look at. When Overlord speed finishes, fly into Protoss main, then turn to see gases at natural. Fantastic. I have one of the songs from Amon Amarth's new album stuck in my head. Send help. It's a pretty catchy tune. Alright, when does he get this spore? 335. He scouts with the Overlord. 335. 340. Okay. 340 spore when he already has the second queen on the way. And he just makes the one in the main. Okay. 340 spore in main. Constant queen production, I think we're looking at. Yes, he's making queens from these two bases. Does he also make a queen from the third? Overlords are flying around. Gets the spore at the natural. The queens are doing zone defense. He has 3 queens and a spore in the main. You're not going to get any damage done. What's good, chat? What's good, YouTube comments? Okay. He's still on 1 gas. He takes Ling speed kind of at 4 minutes. I want to see when he refilled the gas. Just to be sure. 3:30 is the standard time that happens. Yeah, I think that was just the first inject. So he did the same thing that he's done in previous games. The first 2 queens are out here. And I just want to see if this inject ends up turning into the drones that go into this larva. That is Serral level consistency, if it is the case. Okay, this inject falls. Boom. Dude. The macro god. Going for these like really tiny details to get a little bit more value. Just a bit. Rally the inject of larva, the main into the gas at 315. Cool. Cool, dude. Putting this as a note. Copy paste. Great. 340 spore in the main. 350 spore in natural. And then Ling speed. Next 100 gas after. We'll say next 100 gas. It's implied that it's after Overlord speed because we already got Overlord speed.
군단 병력이 공격받고 있음.
How are you spectating? This is a Serral replay from TSL 9. So his creep tumor order is he does 2 forward creep tumors and then 1 ramp creep tumor. Random cool way to prioritize creep. If you don't know, each 25 energy of your queen, you have a decision to make. Do I inject a base? Do I lay a creep tumor? Do I use it for transfuse later on? So for each of these decisions, it's going to be kind of a matchup specific, map specific, play style specific choice. And it might seem like not a big deal, but when you're playing at the very top level of skill, each move needs to have intention behind it. So this creep tumor has the intention of filling this creep lane. This creep tumor has the intention of going this lane. And then this creep tumor has the intention, I'm guessing, to go this lane. We'll see. He could also like flow downhill here if he wanted to. But this creep tumor basically fills this close enough that you can just walk over here, which is cool. So we'll do a quick creep note. First 2 creep tumors spread forward lanes. 3rd creep tumor on ramp into main.
여왕 생성 성공.
Like book.
새로운 여왕 준비됨.
Oracle flies in, you can't explain that. Overlord flying around for some scouting. He's getting ling speed. Now he's droning his 3rd for minerals. Creep tumor at the 3rd.
군단 병력이
It's an
공격받고
Evo.
있음.
421 Evo. Cool. Say 4-minute follow-up scout. Four-minute follow-up. Overlord speed scout. And the 420 Evo chamber. In natural wall. Case of adept bamboozle. Yes, Lord. Is he gonna get melee attacks? Probably, maybe.
여왕 생성 성공.
He scouts standard stuff. A Twilight Council, a Forge, and no other unit being made on the Stargate. This is about as normal as it gets, folks. And he goes for the line 4th base at about 5 minutes. And it is killed. You just keep sending him. That's a good timing. Line 4th base is taken. We'll just put the time here first so we have times on the left. 5-minute, take the line 4th base. Cool. For people who don't know the terminology there, this would be the triangle expansion. This would be the pocket expansion because it's in a pocket here. This would be the pocket lining here. And this is just expanding downward in a line. And this is the way to expand as far away from Protoss as possible. So he's playing it for the longer term. He's not really trying to get up in the Protoss business right away. And then he just goes and takes all the gases. Yep, he goes for all the gases here. This is different from all the other maps we've seen so far. And Stargazers, it's a very different map. Just because of this pocket base and how it shapes people's ability to be greedy early on. He's saying, all right, this is a greed map. I'm just going to greed war, rush you. Like, I'm just going to spam drones, not cutting any corners, not stopping my mining process at all. He's got this cute Zergling at this base. I want to see, one thing that he did in some previous matches is a 6-minute single Zergling scout. Let's see if he does it again. But it's pretty cool to see here that instead of on the other maps that were more short rush, more aggressive, he drones drone up fully with all 6 gases. That is different. It's different from before. Make note of this. I want to see what drone count he ends up going for. Oracle's zooming around, zapping stuff. What is he doing? Okay, melee. Melee upgrade. But that was a melee after layer. What's the layer timing? Thank you for your patience. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss any cool timings. Ling speed. Layer next 100 gas. Yeah, wow. Cool. Ling speed next 100 gas, and the approximate time for that was 4:45. Layer next 100 gas. Approximate 4 minute 45 second. Boom bop. Boom bop. Now he droning. He droning. This Oracle's being pesky. It's just kind of like a harass mini game. His goal is to drone up. 2 random oracles show up. What do? Try to pull the drones away. Try to make sure the queens attack them. Minimize your losses. Like 540 he checked for a 4th base. And that looked like an escort for a 4th base. And it is an escort for a 4th base. Cool. 540, he does a scout. It's a little bit earlier than previously. But I think one of the reasons for that... Scout opponent 4th base location. The reason he scouts a little bit earlier is because that pocket 3rd is so easy to take that Protoss is going to be more ahead than they normally would if they had to, like, say, but put a bunch of shield batteries and stuff at the 3rd. Because this is the difference. For this map, you don't need to have a bunch of static defense at this base because it's a pain in the ass to get past this before lair tech. So Protoss can very safely take this early on. And as long as he has defense here, he's able to defend 3 bases with this choke point. So the 2 sentry play is really efficient and smart for him. He can defend any Roach Ling, any Ling Bane bust, any Mass Ling kind of cheese with 2 units and then warping in additional stuff. So really efficient, solid play from Showtime. He's basically playing as greedy as he can without being exposed. So he's not like playing danger risky. He's playing as safely economical as you can. So that means that Serral adjusts his scout timings a little bit to check things a little bit earlier, because say this was a 3rd base on a different map, Showtime would probably want to have a shield battery or 2, or a shield battery and a cannon, or a shield battery and like a partial gateway wall off, and all of those things cost minerals, which in this case he could just put a base here because he didn't need to invest those buildings to defend this. It would have been a waste of money in the short term anyway. Queens are defending shit. He's going for Spire. Ah. The 6-minute Spire Gambit. Okay, if 4th base is being taken, go Spire. Now, whenever we're doing notes like this, the tech choice that the player goes for in the pro match isn't necessarily going to match up with what you should do in your personal match. If you're playing ZvP on Stargazers and you're in Diamond 2, your experience can look a lot different because they might not even take this base, they could 2-base all in you. So you can't just follow this plan every time and expect it to beat everything. Serral is specifically reacting to a quick 4th base. And he even does a follow-up scout. Yeah, follow-up scout, which showed him that Showtime wants to probe even more. So he's making lings. He droned up to 73, and then he started making lings. Cool. 73 drones and 6 gas. Then make, not drones. Let's start making overlords and lings. Great, we'll make this bold and green because it's an economy thing. All right, now what do you do, Serral? And what happens this game? This is such a hecking long match. Accidentally takes burrow, then cancels it. He's taking gas at the 4th base. What? And he, wow, okay. Wow, this is different. Normally you take mineral saturation at the 4th base before you take the gases for basically any unit comp. Roachling, Ravager, Bane, Hydraling, Bane. You get minerals first before you get gas. But the difference with mutas is mutas cost as much gas as they cost minerals. So he wants a lot of gas. And he's going to make some heckin' mutas. Or corruptors. Let's not assume. It's 2022. Could be a corruptor build. Now with this ratio of minerals to gas, it's looking like mutas. The 1-to-1 seems to fit pretty cool here. So I'll adjust that note. Instead of saying 6 gas, I'm saying 8 gas. Wow. Wow. What a unique decision to make. We live in wild times. 13 mutas. And then attack. Okay. Spend gas into mutas and air attack. Cool. Note that he does not have a Baneling nest. Peepo notes, Neuro notes, Apopto notes.
변이 완료.
Muta's flipping and flapping around. Mutaling. On the move. +2 melee follow-up. Supply lead. He checks this. Immediately goes for the unit in the wall off. And then runs in. And the Mutaling, like, I think some of these units are on the same hotkey. I think this 34 control group unit might be all of this stuff. Then we'll have to see what happens to the rest of his mutas and units. But that's an important target priority. For him to attack into here, it's going to be a bad time. Because the Lings can't really get on top of these cannons very well. And there's a battery here to back up everything. So this is a pretty clutch move where he's just like, nope, I'm going into your natural. I'm going to focus down the Stalker first. So he right-clicked that, and then he was able to run in here. And then he's going to try to get whatever damage that he can. So cool. He goes full +2 melee follow-up on Evo. And then Muta plus Ling attacks unit in wall-off at 150 supply-ish. Cool.
군단 병력이 공격받고 있음.
They're just getting some value. Ling's running around. He injects spaces with the speed of God. That is a lot of damage he's getting done.
광맥 소진됨.
How many of those did he save? Some of them.
군단 병력이
14.
공격받고 있음.
5 dropper lords? You know what? I'm just going to write it down. 5 dropper lords. I don't know what he's gonna do with it, but he might drop. Or it was a big accident. The Muta's clear vision around the Protoss base like a Viking. Into the 5 Dropper Lord into the pocket base. And then he's pretending to attack over here. Look at this, he's convincing Showtime that he's willing to take a bad trade over here, but then a ton of Lings in the base. Focuses the shield battery. He's making a Roach Warren, a Bane Nest, and a Hive behind. Alright. This is crazy. 5 Dropper Lords for a mass Ling drop at the pocket base. Muta Ling distracts at their natural. And then we've got Roach plus Bane plus Hive behind. And he might just go like Ling Bane Roach Ravager with Adrenal Glands. We'll see. I don't know. I don't really think that Ling drop did a ton, but it did something. And that is occupied the attention and the time of the Protoss player. And provide cover for the Mutas on their retreat. Oh, Ling surrounding an Archon. Okay, then he takes the pocket base 5th, Bane speed, 2nd Evo. This is all kind of a 10-minute thing. So we'll say 10-minute, take pocket 5th, Bane speed, 2nd Evo. See if he does anything else here. He's doing creep. He's making 12 roaches after he has 10 roaches. +1 range attack. Okay. 2nd Evo, +1 range. 25 roaches. We'll see what he ends up making, but I wrote down 25 for now. Mixes in 3 Ravagers. He's got 81 drones, 6 queens. This match has a long way to go. Pretty hard fought. Dropper Lords to lower the Protoss morale. You're not wrong. Into the Bane drops. Double Bane drop all the way. You love to see it. Okay, production tab. Look at this production tab. Roach speed, melee 3, adrenal. Greater Spire. Okay, that's the Hive tech. Roach speed. +3 melee. Adrenal glands. Greater Spire. Cool. Burp, 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 burp. Burp, burp. I'm gonna make this like a red or an orange because that's the color of +3 melee and adrenal. Yes.
군단 병력이 공격받고 있음. 광맥 고갈됨. 군단이 진화했음.
3 spores at the pocket 5th? Yeah. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. A beautiful triangle of defense. 3 spores at pocket 5th base. That helps versus both air units and warp prism, warping and ground units. And he is maxing out 6 Corruptor,
종양
with room to make Broodlord, in fact. And Lingbane Roach Ravager to survive this ground push. So this is a... It's not the scariest ground army, but that's a lot of Psystorm. So for him to make some ground units so he doesn't just die before Broodlords is respectable. And this army would just kill Broodlords if it was unassisted. So he's making a whole bunch of ground stuff. The max out is Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane, 6 Corruptor, 4 Brood. Okay, now what?
공격받고 있음.
Now what?
완료.
Get the queens, help them out. They're picking up the Revengers and shooting them. Help them out.
변이 완료. 천막 종양이
Game drop.
공격받고 있음.
6 Broods insta. Bombas. Bombas. Zealots.
천막 종양이
The 3 Sport the Pocket 5th defended the Warp Prism. Alright, he does a Spine Crawler wall off. 4 spines at the 4th. Great. 3 Spores of the Pocket 5th base. 4 spine wall at the 4th. Fantastic. Man, we got notes for days. Notes for days. +2 air attack. He's going for the attack upgrades rather than the ground. He's making Carapace upgrade. And the queens are with the Broodlords.
직접 공격받고
He has a separate group of roaches. Let's just take a quick pass here now at the way that he's organizing his forces, because that is very important. So he's got... This is everything, it looks like. Or at least most of all of his stuff. This is probably... Maybe the Banes? Yeah, the Banes. Okay. And then he's got his hatcheries. He's got these roaches on a group. Roaches, interestingly enough, are better at dealing with late game zealots than hydras some of the time. Because roaches are faster, they're armored, and they can kind of move and shoot and just take out the zealots. Zealots can kind of charge and get on top of hydras and just rip them up. So this is cool. He's got 11 roaches, which is 22 supply. It's a substantial amount. But he's patrolling it here to prevent the Warp Prism from putting a ton of zealots in his base. I've died that way a million times of, oh man, we're having such a great battle down here in the bottom, and then suddenly 20 zealots kill my hive and I'm dead. So this is the insurance against being killed by hive stuff, or by Warp Prism stuff on his hive. So his unit division is, we got 11 roaches, defend in main versus Prism. And we'll say queen plus brood plus ground army defends by 3rd, 4th, which is on the lower side of the map. So those are his 2 main squads right now, but he does have the Broodlords on their own separate key. Yes, he does. Broods are on their own key. Gets the transfuses. Queen's assisting Broodlords, very good. Going for all the bases. He's staying at 73 drones, so he has fewer workers than Protoss, which is kind of rare. It does mean that his punching power at a 200 supply max out is going to be stronger than if he had, say, 85 drones. Looking for some run-by damage with the Lings. He does get some Lings in. That was actually huge. I think he got that play because Showtime is likely looking at the Lings in the base. So some random moves that you can do on offense. I'll just put these as notes. Offensive moves. Oh my gosh, I'm offended. Would be random Zergling Yeet into the Protoss mat/main. And then we've got Bane run by. No. And then we've got Bane drop. Those are some offense moves that you can do that are pretty good with this style, especially since he's got good melee upgrades. Banes with +2 melee or better can one-shot those. So Showtime is kind of getting him with a 50-50 in a way, where he's splitting his forces half and half, upper side and lower side of the map. He's trying to do Bane run by. He lost this base. Queen Brood is trying to defend it. Yeah, the spines in this map are really, really crucial if you have a Broodlord based army, just because the Broodlords can't defend the top side of his territory and the bottom side at the same time. The spines plus his ground army are basically fine for holding against that. And then the Broodlord is the big power unit that shows up wherever the main fight ends up being. But Showtime is playing low-tech gateway units still. He's got a lot of Stalkers, a lot of Zealots, and tons of probes. And Serral is kind of just trying to absorb these attacks and trade efficiently. He's going for +1 Carapace and Neuro. Cool. Just put down some other upgrades that he ends up taking. +2. Did I put +2 air attack? I did not. I'll say +2 air attack, +2 Carapace, Neural Parasite. And I will double check to see if he took whatever the first one is. Yeah, so he took the other Infestor upgrades. So we'll just say take Infestor upgrades. Infestor upgrades. He's not made any Infestors yet, though. Okay. He's trying to deny a 6th base. Showtime is pretty solidly anchored on 5 bases, but he's running into a gas problem right now. See, Showtime is like bottoming out with gas, and Serral is around maxed out, and he still has a pretty nice bank. Creep tumors are going. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's trying to take a 6th while delaying his opponent's 6th. And then speaking of 6, he's making 6 Infestors. So we'll say Hydroden, Air Armor, and then Lurkerden, and then he's getting 6 Infestors. 6 Infestors. Did he take Burrow upgrades? He did take Burrow. Let's add that to the amazing list. He's basically just playing the full Zerg. He's not really like, I'm just going to try to focus on these units in particular. He's just getting everything. Burrow. What does Serral not get when he macros? The answer is supply blocked. Good guesses. He's mostly stopped injecting, by the way. Kind of noteworthy here. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like 5 to 6 hatcheries of larva income when you can make hive tech units. He's just using the queens to be with his broods, so the broods don't get lonely. He's got 6 queens and they're all here. So if you feel like your injects fall off whenever you have broodlords out, that's the time when it's okay to.
천막 종양이
In the early game, you're more exclusively reliant on larva-intensive units.
군단 병력이 공격받고 있음. 군단 병력이 공격받고 있음.
Broodlords are super larva efficient. And he's keeping them alive. He's not attacking with the broods. That's something that I think that I mess up. Is I'll be like, I have broodlords and a max out. Let's get them. And that's when you open yourself up to get attacked. It feels kind of tricky because it's like, if nobody's ahead, then you shouldn't really try to commit everything into your opponent, because then they have defender's advantage and that's what puts them ahead for the fight, and then they win. Let's get the production tab out just to see what he's making. He gets all Hydra upgrades, all Lurker upgrades, and he's making 6 Lurkers. He just makes 6 of every unit. Is that his plan? Okay, Lurker Den, 6 Infestors, Lurker and Hydra upgrades, 6 Lurkers. Is that all he makes? +2 ranged attack. The fungal on the stalkers with the Broodlord, you love to see it. Astounding. Okay, so he just puts the Lurkers down by the 4th base. So for the big picture here, he's got his Broodlords more or less in the center of his side of the map, vertically speaking. And then he's got his Lurkers that he has decided to move up here to help out with the fight. The Lurkers have +1 ranged. They have +2 ranged on the way. They already have range for their Talons. And then they're going to be getting burrow speed. So when the Stalkers blink in, Infestors go for Fungals. And then the Lurkers are trying to run under here and assist the Broods. He's got 5 Broods now. He's making 5 more Infestors. Rest of the Hydra upgrades, 3 more Broods. I want to see if he tries to keep a similar Broodlord count. Because I don't think he wants Corruptors here. Burrow to save drones. And if I had $1 every time Twitch chat asks about Burrow to save drones from harass, I could take everyone out on a yacht. All expenses paid. He's doing it. Serral did it. He's got 4 Broods with 3 more on the way. Yeah, so ballpark, he's keeping 8-ish. 8 Infestors, 3 more Broods. He's getting +3 range, or +3 armor, +2 air armor, +2 range attack. And his unit composition now is 75 drones. He's got 4 Broodlord cocoons plus the 7, so that's 11 Broodlords, 4 Lurkers, 8 Infestors. It's a very complex and kind of clunky army to use, but it's very strong, very high DPS. It requires really good control. He's got 1 queen left. Queens in the late game are kind of low impact in some ways because their DPS is really low. They're pretty tanky, but compared to like the damage and health of a Brood, they don't really feel the best. So cool. This is kind of his late game comp here. Randomly has some Hydras now. The Spore is shooting the Prism. Can he defend the Warp Prism? And also defend this pressure? Gets Lurkers burrowed. Birds are trying to help. Where is the Prism? Okay. Goes for the attack here. He's going to try to retake that.
군단 병력이 공격받고 있음.
He's got a smattering of units in the main, once again, to try to deal with this prism. The prism can really present a mystery amount of danger. Serral can see invisible units, throws a fungal. Gets it. This still feels like it's an anybody's game. Showtime has 98 probes. And he's on the front foot. Serral's basically just kind of trying to win the long game of efficient defensive trades. Broods are moving around. Infestors are chilling with the lurkers and the broods. This kind of Zerg setup is really annoying to control. He saved drones with Burrow again. Getting in there, getting the base cancels. He's still getting his upgrades. Broods getting some storm pickups. High Templar kills, good. He's losing some precious tech here, which is not the best. Can he defend the +3 armor? He's defended it. Okay, it's done. At this rate, Serral's going to have fewer bases of the map than Showtime, because Showtime has the gold here, which means he has over half of the map. And this is a situation where Zerg is supposed to lose. But he doesn't, so how? This base is fresh. He hasn't taken any gas from this yet. Showtime is playing some very impressive Protoss. Respect. He is a macro god, I'll admit that. I shake my head because Serral just makes so few mistakes. There's like a situation where a mistake can be made and I've made that mistake and I see myself making it and he just doesn't. He splits off 2 lings to activate the stasis trap. Okay. He's still hanging in there. He starts making queens again. And I would say that's mainly when he's running out of money and you're getting into a starvation point. So this is a phase of the game now where 20 minutes plus, and if you're ever at this point of the game, the main is mined out, the nat is mined out, the third is mined out, the fourth is basically mined out. He's got just a touch of gas left here, like 350 total. The fifth base is looking kind of shitty, and the sixth base is basically your only location that has a good amount of gas. So let's just do a 20 minute check-in. We'll say remake another round of queens for value over time since the map is drying up. And then we'll say we got +2 Carapace, +2 air attack, Lurker and Hydra upgrades, +3 ground armor. Cool. He didn't do anything with the Nidus, which is interesting. One of the reasons why you might not go for Nidus is because there aren't really great targets. Like, you could pressure the main, but then there are carriers coming out to attack stuff. So it doesn't really feel like this is a viable place you could attack. He could set up a Nidus here. Can't set up a Nidus anywhere in range of the cannons. So those rule out areas. And then Protoss can just warp in a bunch of Zealots here. So yeah, Serral's mostly playing a defensive game. Just trying to hang in there and take really good defensive trades. Units lost. Wow. Okay. So he's trading more efficiently defensively with leaning back on Broodlord, Lurker, Infestor with some queens to heal stuff. So if he keeps trading at a good enough rate, he can trade Showtime's half of the map into himself and survive and win. That seems to be the win condition he's going for here, because he's not doing big conventional pushes at these bases that Showtime is taking. He could be just running at the gold right now, but he's not. He's sitting on his creep and then looking for where Protoss is going to attack next. Production tab. So Showtime is going to have air now. +3 air weapons, making 3 carriers at a time. He's making a warp prism as well. Cool. Cool, nice. Corruptor shooting that. If you have Brood, Viper, Infestor, Queen, Lurker, how would you hotkey and control such an army? Would you combine any of the unit types into the same control group? I have all of the, actually. Strangely enough, Broodlord and Lurker being on the same hotkey is kind of cool, because they both have the siege role. You can also do Queens and Broods on the same hotkey. That's not too terrible. The way that Serral is doing it here is he's got his Broodlords on a key. He's got his Corruptors on a key. He's got the Vipers with the Corruptors. And he throws... Well, let's just look at the unit comp first. I want to look at the unit composition here. 13 Queens, 9 Infestors, 12 Corruptors, which is a low amount. He's not going for enough to like one-hit the carriers. 9 Broods, 2 random Roaches, and a partridge in a pear tree. He's got a Viper as well. So, late game unit comp. We've got 13 Queens. These numbers are approximate too. Like, I don't know that he's exactly shooting for that many. Is it 10 Broods? 9 Broods. 1 Viper. 9 Infestor. 12 Corruptor. Yeah, that's basically what he's got. I don't know if the 2 Roach and 4 Ling is noteworthy here. This kind of army is extremely hard to control. So he's mainly looking to beat the interceptors. That's kind of his mindset here. He's not like, I'm gonna abduct the carrier and then right click and focus the carrier down. He's not even trying to focus the carrier down, which is different than how I've been going about this. I've been like, we need to get these carriers out of the sky, and I'll try to focus them down. But since his win condition is to dry up Showtime's half of the map plus the gold base, he's happy to munch interceptors and then let the carriers remake the interceptors, because the interceptors are pretty flimsy. So interesting kind of late game plan here, where the Infestor priority would be, we'll say, just late game micro. He's got Queens, A move interceptors, and transfuse stuff. Broods, attack, then retreat when recharging. Viper casts Parasitic Bomb. And then the Infestors do Microbial on Queens and Fungal stuff. And then Corruptors, they mostly A move around Queens. It didn't look like he was really trying to YOLO onto the carriers, and he doesn't have enough corruptors to accomplish much with that. Did I miss the lurkers? He's got one lurker here. Where are his lurkers? They're with the army. I missed those in the unit comp. Say 8 lurkers. Okay. He's got more queens. He's got brood harass. Lurker broodlord controls the middle of the map. He uses a roachling group. That is kind of noteworthy though. He's got 3 roaches and 20 lings. Defending some stuff. These situations are super hard to control. Because you've got so many different caster units. Feedbacks are going out. Corruptors are just kind of A-moving some interceptors here and there. Lurker run by. Cool. I'll add that to the offensive moves section. We've got sections to these notes now. Lurker run by. That is a thing that you can do. Okay. More prism harass.
적이 일벌레 공격 중. 군단 병력이 공격받고 있음.
He finally killed the gold base. Hold up, we have an interesting thing here. He moved 4 spores up here to the front. He's got 29 drones left. How does he win this game? What? No way.
군단 병력이 공격받고 있음. 적이 일벌레 공격 중.
Lurker's pretty good at shutting down warp prism.
군단 병력이 공격받고 있음.
So Showtime has more supply, more minerals, more gas. His carriers. Oh. Oh. He cast Revelation on the Protoss army. And then knurls the Oracle to flight in his corruptors and kill it. Dude, that's what the I've never even thought of that. That is so dank. Is it an offensive move? Late game micro. We're adding this to the list. Infestor. Oops, caps. Infestor knurls Oracle to cast Revelation on Protoss army. This is a big style points maneuver here. He can see the army. How long does this last? This is reminding me of an ancient wisdom of a man named Greg. And Greg said something which shall never be forgotten, which is, yeah, you want to get Neural because Immortals are really good. They're good Protoss units, so you want those. This is the same idea as what Greg had a long time ago, which is you're in the late game, you're against Protoss, you're like, what do I do? I'm fucked. Just Neural them. Be the Protoss you want to be in the game. Maybe you're Zerg, and you're like a Zerg late game. It's scuffed. That's why you hire them.
준비됨. 군락지가 직접 공격받고 있음.
He's got so little money left. He's keeping his lurkers alive. He has them at the most crucial bases. And at this point, Showtime is pretty much exclusively in a Skytoss army. He fungals. He neurals. Storm is cast on those. And now he's focusing down quite a few carriers. Queens and Corruptors are shaving off a bunch of the interceptors. This still looks really rough for Serral.
받아들일 수 없는 명령임. 천막 중화물지대 말라버림.
It's pretty awesome that he never panic F2s. He just keeps those lurkers and stuff over there. He just F2'd. I mean, right as I said that. It's cursed. Neuro, you cursed him. Yeah, Serral never uses F2. Immediately hits F2. Moves the lurkers away. I wouldn't say that he's fine. He has a base. And he's down 43 supply. But he's got heart. And heart can go a really long way in battle. He's got spores moving up here. He's so dead. He's not dead. He's just mortally wounded. Showtime has the advantages. He has map control. He has the 6th base. He has a bit of a bank, not really an impressive one, but something. But he can't really YOLO on top of Serral's army. He's getting some more Vipers. He goes up to 21 Queens. Making more lurkers. Very cost-effective units. Showtime's letting off the pressure for a little bit here. He's going to push on the top side and the bottom side at the same time. Oh, he's trying to get rid of some probes. Fair. The Fist of Neeb. So Showtime's at 59 probes, Serral's at 26 drones. The thing about being at 26 drones is if he can get maxed, which is a big if, then he's going to have a super strong army. Yeah, so Serral's using Lurker Roachling in a control group. That's his group 1. I think I have lurkers, 8 lurkers with some Roachling. That's a control group. Cool. Void Razor in the mix now. He's got quite a few Vipers. Vipers are really good against Voids. They're okay against carriers. There's shield batteries up there now. There were shield batteries up there. She's a little lurker run by. Getting bits of damage here. He has +3 range, right? He doesn't. He has +2 range. Huh.
군락지가 직접 공격받고 있음. 군단 병력이 공격받고 있음.
Attacks up here.
군락지가 직접 공격받고 있음.
Just take a pass of the units lost tab again. Okay, it's getting a little bit more even. The recall. Wow. Okay, now he's making what? 10 lings and an overseer. Actually, though, Showtime is almost out of gas. And Serral still has... He still has a lot of gas at this space. Let me just look at Showtime's bases. The gold base has a lot. So they pretty much both have one good base of gas left. But the thing that Serral does not have is minerals to really fall back on. The space is mostly mined out. The rest of these bases are cooked. This one's got some stuff. Tempest Void Archon Mothership Storm. And he's intentionally getting rid of some more probes here. Once again, the lurkers showing up being obnoxious. Really efficient value here. Yeah, he's getting free damage at the moment. No cannons even shooting him. An Oracle is being made. 25 probes are killed. Showtime has 6 probes. It's actually kind of annoying for him, because now he has to retake this and then wait for good gas income again. Okay, now it's actually looking like Serral's in a decent position. That lurker play was sick. Oops. He's still creeping. Yeah, he's got a foothold here now. I think one of the major breakthroughs that I'm seeing from this game is this kind of army that he's making, he's not marching off creep with it. He's basically just trying to take a defensive rope-a-dope, to borrow Muhammad Ali's boxing style, where he just gets pummeled constantly by Protoss, but he's surviving it, and Protoss is getting tired out. But then he's still being active. Anytime Showtime moves out, he's got Ling/lurker pressure on the opposite side of the map. He's going to lose the space. So crazy hard to control a fight like this. He's getting transfuses. He's controlling corruptors. He's throwing out microbial shroud. He's burrowing and unburrowing lurkers. He's making new infestors and adding them to a dedicated infestor group, checking his harassment team. And Showtime is out of money. He has 4 minerals. 4 minerals, but still a pretty strong army. But the thing is, he can't make interceptors right now. The carriers, they're not full. They're not full, and he has 0. Okay, he has distance mining probes. And this is all that's left for minerals. Holy shit. If Serral can beat this army, he wins. Because Showtime can't make anything else. He's hitting transfuses. He's got more infestors coming out. The broodlords are pushing back the ground. The queens are running at it. The lings and the lurkers getting on top of the ground. The last of the ground is killed. The corruptors can kill tempests, because tempests are bad units. He's trying to fall back. And then the lurker ling goes to pounce again, killing the last 2 probes that exist. But the tempests kill another broodlord. Serral's down to 111 supply. Serral doesn't have much of an economy either. Mothership makes the whole army invisible. The 2 players in this game are bruised, battered. They are confused and tired, but they're not giving up. They're still microing. It's like boom, Tempest micro, the Broodlord. Boom, Queen transfuse each other. He's going for the mothership. He gets the fungal on everything. He gets the second fungal on everything. He's focusing the stuff down. He focuses a carrier. Are the carriers empty? The carriers are empty. All he has are Tempest and Void. But that's still scary. He's chipping away at the queens. The carriers are just here for moral support. Tempest get another kill. 89 supply, 87 supply to 60. The queens are trying to get the Tempest in the back, but they don't get it. He's making a Corruptor. And he has a Corruptor. He's like sending Lings because he realizes there's no ground left in the game. 2 Voids, 5 Tempests, and an Oracle. And the queens have 1. Okay, there's 1 new Corruptor buddy. The Corruptor tanks a bunch of shots. How does he win this? He doesn't have anything. Okay, he's got Broods. He's got Lurkers. He's got Queens. He's just running now. Just run. We can't beat this army. Just run. It's a base race? He's base racing. Oh my gosh. Did you know that 43 people got carpal tunnel just from watching this game? Holy shit. He's going in. He's pushing. It's gonna take this army a long time to win the base race, honestly. A Void Ray goes back. He has an Oracle. But he needs detection to be able to get the Lurkers. And the Lings are getting the cannon up here. Okay, this Void is going to be able to kill the Lings, though. He has the random Queen Broodlord Corruptor with the Infestors here. He's going to do something with the Infestors. He's got enough energy for Neural. He has 2 Neurals in the back pocket. Oh, he dodged the Revelation! Showtime doesn't see the Infestors. He grabs 2 Tempests and he's focus firing a Tempest. And the Queens are focus firing the Tempest. The Queens turn and transfuse the Infestors that are casting the Neural Parasite! Holy shit! There are only 2 Tempests left against 3 Queens. The Infestors died, but they died boldly. Oh, there's still an Infestor. The Lings unburrow. 3 Queens versus 2 Tempests and 4 empty carriers. And there is... Okay, the Oracle also died. Protoss has 0 detection. There is no way to see the Infestor. The Infestor is going to use 1 Tempest to beat the other Tempest. The Queens are hiding underground, invisible. And anytime the Void Rays leave, the Lings continue the base race. He's still chipping away at it. Just getting some chip damage. Queens unburrow to attack an empty carrier vessel. He also still has the 3 random broods in the back corner of the map. As a note. $49 supply to 42. 41 minutes into the game. The Lings unburrow. They're back on it. The Queens reburrow. They're out. They're done. They're hiding. They're invisible. No Oracle and no money to make an Oracle or an Observer. The Infestor smiles quietly to itself, knowing that it's going to be able to make some clutch Neural play later on. But when? The Ling's going to reburrow. He goes for it. Gets the Tempest that actually has health. Shoots the other Tempest with the vision of the Roche Warden and kills it. And then the Queens focus down the other Tempest. And he gets the transfuse because he doesn't make mistakes. And that's the game. Man, this absolute lad of a unit. The Infestor. This went from like being a guide into a cast. That is one of the silliest, most amazing macro games I've ever seen. Showtime was ahead pretty much the whole game, but trading inefficiently against Serral, taking really good defensive fights, jabbing at this with Ling Lurker. I think that was a big part of just consistent damage. Random Zergling Yeet into the bases. He did Bane Run By, he did Baneling Drops. He made Infestors to do Microbial Shroud and Fungals. And he mined out pretty much all of his bases except for this one. He still had a little bit of gas there. Holy crap. This is a very difficult map against Protoss. I have a lot of notes here. This is Stargazers. What is wrong with this? Oh. Okay. So we're taking the Nat here. We're checking the wall off. If there's no Warp Gate by 220, it's a Stargate build. Cancel Ling speed. He goes for Overlord speed. He drones up fully with all 6 gases. His mid game here is like a Muta Ling style. And then he goes into Roach Bane with Hive for Broodlords. He takes his pocket 5th base, gets his ranged upgrades. He basically upgrades everything. Let's just do some offensive moves. Doot doot. Boop. Okay. Bane Run By, Bane Drop, Lurker Run By. +2 air attack, Carapace. Yeah, he just gets all the upgrades. 20 minutes remake into the round of Queens. This is something that doesn't happen very often because usually you don't have 20-minute games. So we'll just make this a cool color here. Late game unit composition. He's got Queens, Broods. We could say 13 to 20. This is like a 5 to 10. 1 to 2. 6 to 10. 12. He didn't really make a ton of corruptors. Late game micro. Okay, let's get this. Micro is, what's a fancy micro color? Ooh, that's loud. Let's go. So he took defensive endurance fights against Protoss. He did take some, like, he would walk his Brood Lurker over here and hit the gold a few times, but he never just like, I'm gonna take all my shit and just like march here and then hit this base. Showtime's defense at the bases and his building placement was immaculate. It's just perfect. So there weren't really good angles for him to go in and like get a big push done. And he also wasn't ahead. Showtime was doing a really good job of probing up really fast, getting a little bit of chip damage with oracles, and just generally playing the match from ahead. But man, Serral did not give up. He even had these 3 Broodlords ready to go hunt some stuff and contribute to the base race. Astounding. Interceptors are not free. They cost minerals. That's why the Interceptors ended up having no Interceptors for the last few fights. They were just empty vessels. Well, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. This is the 4th of this series of what the heck can Zerg do against Protoss. Game 1 was like some Hydra Bane, boom, boom, boom. Serral was taking some aggressive fights. Basically, once he got +2 melee and Hydraling Bane, he was like bashing in, kills Showtime. This map, he goes for 4 gases, also Hydraling Bane, but he only makes 11 Hydras. Similar idea, he's able to like ram in with Banes and get damage in. This game, Showtime went for a 2 base, 4 gas, Stalker, Disruptor all in, and he's trying to punch uphill. And Serral just went 3 bases only, no Evo Chamber upgrade. He went Roachling Ravager, just making as much stuff as he could off 5 gas and 57 drones. And then this was a hecking Lord of the Rings movie of a match that was super long, just crazy micro and late game stuff. Showtime was mostly playing ground, and then eventually went into carriers and tempests and voids in the late game. But Serral took a very, very slow defensive victory that required a lot of crazy micro and a lot of creativity and just getting little bits of damage here and there and being able to take some really good fights. Playing with detection was cool. Like, he did get burrow at a fairly reasonable time, and he saved a bunch of drones against zealot harass and stuff with that, and then also just used burrow with infestors to take the game. But yeah, insane match. Hope you enjoyed this breakdown. I'll be doing other breakdowns of games from TSL and other stuff if people like seeing this. But yeah, if you want to see the notes for these, I have a journal command on Twitch that links to my practice journal where I'm typing all this stuff up. And I'm trying to figure out what to do on these new maps against Protoss, especially because it's my lowest win rate. So thank you, Serral, for kicking ass and finding it out even when the matchups are really tough. And thanks all for supporting the endeavor to learn more about the amazing game of Snowcraft. From me, Neuro, this has been another breakdown of Serral versus Protoss.